Thank you for listening to the 39th Street Church of Christ Daily Devotional. The devotional today is Do I Know Who I Am? I'm Created in God's Image by Jack Williams. Several years back, I received a call, and the man began the conversation. He said, This is so and so, gave me his name. And he said, Do you know who I am? Well, I was kind of taken aback by that. And conversation didn't go well because I told him, I said, Yes, you just told me your name. Then he said again, But do you know who I am? Well, this man had a serious pride problem. He thought himself actually thought himself above the laws of God. And though he was a preacher, he engaged in all sorts of ungodliness. And that was a sad, sad thing. That type of pride is condemned in the Bible so many times. In the book of Matthew, the 7th chapter, you find where Jesus Christ talks about the evil things that are proceeding out of the hearts of men. Talks about adulteries, fornication, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, all these things. And also in there is pride. Pride is a pretty bad thing. But there's something else that I see a problem with, and that is not the idea of pride, but that we don't think enough of ourselves. We don't realize who we are. That man called and said, Do you know who I am? And in actuality, his problem was that he didn't know who he was or who he was supposed to be. We look at the society today, and we've been in the midst of all sorts of rioting and such as that. And I heard somebody say, "Well, those people acting just like animals," and they are. You think about the immorality that's out there. Well, you don't think anything about, animals. They bite and devour one another. Animals, they do whatever they can to get ahead of the other. And after all, that's what they do. They're animals. Animals engage in things that we would call immorality amongst men, but after all, they do that because they're animals. Well, the problem is whenever we start acting like animals, that comes from the aspect of us not knowing who we are. And then in the church, you find people too that they stand back. They're not involved. They don't use their abilities. They don't challenge themselves. And I think that largely comes from many people not knowing who they are. Well, we're going to be looking for several days at considering, do I know who I am? And the beginning of that, I think, is found whenever you look at the creation account. The animals are created. They act like animals. But God looked in Genesis, the first chapter, in verse 27, he created man in his image. That's what sets us apart. I'm not an animal. I hate it whenever people talk about the man animal or man is the pinnacle of animals. No, I'm not. I'm not an animal. I'm man. I'm created in God's image. And as such, I need to realize my ability, my challenge, the need that I have to be different from the animals of this world. Animals don't rule the world. God put all things in subjection to man. And we need to act like we are worthy of the charge, worthy of doing what he has commanded us. It is man who God sent his son to die for, not the animals, you and I. So I realize, as I face each day, I need to avoid the idea of pride, thinking too much of myself. But on the other end of the spectrum, I need to avoid the idea that I don't realize who I am. I am created in the image of God. I'm special, and I need to realize that. And whenever I do, I'm not going to engage in that ungodly things that animals do. I'm different than them. I'm not going to do whatever I can to get ahead, bite and devour and destroy others, because I'm better than just an animal. I'm not going to be doing those things that mankind ought to keep in private. because I'm not an animal. You know, all of those things are the beginning of the realization of a relationship with God. I'm not alone, and God cares. God loves me so much that He made me in His image. You know, as I go through this day and the days to come, if I keep that in mind, that's the foundation of being set apart. It's a foundation of expectation from me and from others. You know, we look at others and we say, I expect better of you. Why? Well, why not start by saying to self and to others, we're made in the image of God? Think about that today. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for taking the time to watch this short devotional. We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you'll be notified of other devotionals that will be forthcoming. Also, we encourage you to join us online live as we stream our services at each service time. More information can be found on our website at the link below. Thank you.